Dare to Dream. Oh, welcome to my show, everybody. My show, Dare to Dream. And today we're doing a wonderful thing again. I have no clue. And I say that in a nice way. I'll explain it in a minute. But I'm your host of Dare to Dream, Graham Williamson. I'm an international intuitive, evidential medium and psychic. And I've been doing this all my life. I've been on New Streaming Network, Going Bold Media. I've just had some good news. Because of you, my show's doing good. And I want to thank each and every one of you. But also, please look at the other shows. There's so many varied shows here with the Going Bold Media. There's something for everybody. Just let us know, okay? But anyway, today's show is about finding oneself. I've done similar in the past. And in a way, I've got to be totally honest. I have no clue what I'm about to say with conscious thought. Being a medium, I've learned to trust my instincts. I've learned to trust my guts. And it saved my life. It's helped other people. I've reconnected people with past loved ones. All because of my intuition. We all have it. But most people think it's just psychic. Psychics are of the material. I've explained it in previous shows, but I'm just going to give you a broad outline. Being a psychic is of the material self-preservation abilities. We all have it. You walk into a room and you feel, oh, no, I don't like this, or, hey, this is great, feel great. Or somebody you meet, no, or, yeah. That's your psychic side. But the medium is where one's energy and spiritual connection and higher vibration allows the medium to receive from spirit on the other realm. I don't know how it actually works. I just know that from practice of keeping my energy positive, lighthearted, with love, not the ego, not, oh, look at me, I'm good, none of that. And in fact, I was a bit doubtful of my shows going anywhere. I went over to England recently to see one of my grandsons for the first time and my daughter. I was hoping to see my son, but he had other plans. He was getting married quietly. But I'm proud of them both. But they both got sons. So I wanted to go over to meet both of my grandsons. But I managed to see my daughter and her son. And this is the epitome of granddad meeting grandson. He got out of the car with his mother, went to a place called Trentham Gardens in the west of the Midlands in England. Beautiful place. He got out, saw me, and said, hi, Grandad, where's Grandma? He's 7.5. He instantly recognized me and wanted to know where his grandma was. Grandma was at home, I said, looking after our dog and our cats, because nobody else can look after them, because our dog's not really well. Oh, that makes sense, he says. 7.5. He's as bright as a button. I'm proud of him. But also, I was warned by the rest of my siblings, you can't tell your grandson no. He doesn't react well to it. Oh, okay. And my daughter said, be a bit careful. I said, oh, but he started to do something. I said, no, and explained it in detail. Why not? In such a calm way. And he stopped what he was doing and looked at me and went, that makes sense, Grandad. I won't. No problem. You see, he knew where I was coming from. He could feel that I was not being angry. I wasn't controlling him. I was just giving him reason why not to do something. You see, we all have abilities, even grandchildren, children, peers, elders, whatever. We all have this connection, the energy that emanates from each and every living thing and non-living thing. That's another story. But you see, when you listen and you react to it from your heart, you don't think about it, you just react. And the quicker you react straight away from your heart, the more accurate you become. A 7-year-old, 7.5-year-old, sorry, telling me he fully understood the ramifications. He's very, very intelligent. I think he's 21 in a 7.5-year-old body. I mean, he's going to be phenomenal when he gets older. He is now, but even more so. But I'm on about the abilities of the child that's not been hampered by, you can't do this with no reason. You can't do that with no reason. It's been explained by his mother and by people around him why he can't do things. When I was a child, I used to see fairies at the bottom of the garden and talk to them up until I was about 4. And then I went to school and told people about it, and they went, "Yeah, weird. No." And I was depressed. And I had a glass of water put in front of me by my grandmother and a candle behind it. Perception. I could see through the glass the candle. Then I was moved 90 degrees to one side. And there's a glass of water and there's a candle. The same things, but instead of being that way, they're now that way. I could see the candle through the glass of water. Everybody sees things different. We are individuals. If you follow exactly somebody else, you've lost yourself. You have abilities innate within your being, your spirit. The energy that emanates from you is controlled by your thoughts, by your actions. And literally, when you do this work with finding yourself, it becomes easier. You stop thinking, what if I could do it this way? What if I could do it that way? But if I shouldn't have done it this way. I should have. No. Stop it. There's a word I don't really like to use a lot, and that's the word try or trying. I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to try and do this. I used to try and write out what my shows were going to be and write everything that I was going to discuss. Lectures included. I do a lot of lectures. We're doing readings at events around Florida. And each time I stood up there to start reading the lecture, it was thrown out. Spirit stepped forward and off you go. They make more sense than I do. Because what I was doing is trusting them, trusting that connection I have with spirit. My psychic ability felt safe. I felt safe. I feel comfortable doing what I do with the people around me. In fact, one of the things I found out, I can't talk about spirit with a non-believer or an antagonistic person. I can't. I don't even breach the subject, even slightly. But I went into a shop the other day, and there was this lady feeling very dejected. She was sitting on a bench outside the store itself. And I went up to her and says, "Keep smiling, girl." I said, "You've got every day to live for." She says, "You don't know what I'm living through." I said, "I don't want to. But do you want to stay where you are? Or do you want to enjoy life again? It's your choice." And she stood up, looked at me, and gave me a big hug. She said, "Thank you, you're an angel." I'm not an angel, not in any shape or form. But that connection I had with that lady helped her find herself. You see, finding oneself is a choice. You know when you're doing right and wrong. And if you have to think about whether you're doing right and wrong, think again. You're doing something that doesn't feel comfortable. My shows, I knew there was something about my shows that didn't feel quite right, and I didn't understand it. And I was worried that my shows weren't going anywhere. But Cece, the creator of this fantastic media, told me the news. Then I understood what it was I was feeling. I was unsure of what I was feeling, and I questioned it. And Cece, unbeknown to her own abilities, told me. You see, we all have abilities if you trust yourself. Cece created this Go Involved Media network, and we're on so many different medias now. It's fantastic. But she trusted herself. She found herself. It's not easy to face yourself with all the tribulations you come through. But don't think about the tribulations. Think about the fact they are past. They are behind you. If you've got something coming up ahead, look back and say, well, I survived all that. If I'd have told you I was going to do this, this, and this in 5 years' time, you'd go, no, I'm not going to do that. I've said before, I've been held up at gunpoint, been shot at, been in 3 major car accidents, held a bomb that should have gone off. And my best friend took my warship at the start of the Falklands War and never came back. Why did those things happen to me? I don't understand why. But what I like to feel from my heart, which I know is correct, is that I've experienced things not many other people have. I've survived. I'm an alcoholic, but I haven't drank at all for 22 years. I choose not to anymore. I drink just water. 24/7, where I put juices in it, I make myself. I don't want artificial stuff in it. And because I've quit all the bad habits, I'm not perfect, I've still got some. So I should say most of my bad habits. I have found that my health has improved. I've found my energy is better. I found that I can work better as a medium. And that's what I'm here for, to teach proof, evidential. As a psychic, every one of us can raise our vibrations. But you truly have to find that inner you. And to do that, you've got to be honest with yourself. On a lot of my readings, people come up to me and have got emotional situations. And as soon as they sit down, I can feel their energies, the head whirling away. I can just feel it. They don't know what, as I said, just calm your mind down. How do you do that? It takes 1.5 minutes, I say. You just close your eyes and you keep them closed until I tell you to open them. And within about 10 seconds of closing their eyes, I say, what colour do you see? And they'll come out with a colour like orange, red, yellow, whatever it is. I said, remember what that colour means to you emotionally. Keep your eyes closed, but tell yourself, what does it mean to me? What triggered that colour? And as they're keeping their eyes closed and they're thinking about it, I said, do you see black? And most times they do. I said, well, concentrate on the black. Let the black envelop you. It's warm, it's safe, it's security, it's peace, it's harmony. Then breathe it in. And as they're breathing it in, most people like this. And as I talked to them, I said, breathe it in more and more. It is everything that you need. It's knowledge. It's harmony. There's no up now, no down, no side, no nothing. It's just black. You're enveloped. This is knowledge. What you've been afraid of. Knowledge is all around you. It's within you. All you've got to do is open your eyes. And they look at me. And as I'm talking to them, the shoulders going down, as I'm breathing in this black. The reason why I say black, my friends, is because black is the store of knowledge. Because as soon as I come out of it, I said, okay, you've done that. Now, what do you see first when you look up at the sky at night? Most people say the stars. Some people say the black night. I said, yeah. You cannot see the stars without the black. The black is the knowledge that holds the stars in place. And you can only see the stars when the light's on, when the eyes open. It's an analogy, it's not factual, but an analogy to help you understand. When you give knowledge from your heart, that's the light. People are afraid of looking into the dark because they don't know what it is that's in there. There's nothing that can harm you if you trust your heart. If you feel at peace within yourself. You know, I still get scared. I go through trauma. I go through anger, frustration. So every human emotion, we all go through it. But it's what triggers that emotion. And I look into it and say, why was I afraid of the dark? Because I was seeing too much. I was feeling too much. I was an empath. I'm intuitive. I was a medium. I could see fairies. I was getting all this input, and it's just too much for a child. And I was scared of the dark because I kept seeing things and feeling things. Now, with my grandchildren, my children, my stepchildren, people I know, I say, when you have a child that's afraid of the dark, ask them why. What is it they're seeing? What is it they're feeling? What is it they're hearing? Or even tasting, smelling, all the senses. I have a very good friend I've known for over 20 years. She's a manager in one of my stores that I frequent. And her son's saying, I was talking to that mister that comes through the house every now and again. I'm not afraid of him anymore, Mum. Because the mother has said to him, is he saying anything nasty? No. Does he feel nice? Oh, yeah. She talks to him as an adult, a child adult, you know what I mean? And he's not afraid to say, can you leave me alone now because I need to sleep? Or I want to play. I'll just go away for a bit. If you want to come back, there's no problem. He tells the spirit energy what he truly wants from his heart. And as a child, he has no barrier. He just says what his heart feels. And 99.9% of the time, spirit listen. The reason why I say 99.9 is because whatever's been taught a child is the doubt of spirit being evil, negative, nasty. Because what somebody told them. And so it goes back in ancestry. I was fortunate to have a grandmother who was a medium, and my mother was a rescue medium. And five of us, I've got a stepsister as oldest, and the other three, we were taught the basics of mediumship. We did levitation, we did all this stuff. But my mother never controlled what we were doing, only gave us the guidelines for protection, purity, love, empathy. I'm the only one still doing it. They all have abilities, but they choose not to use it, which is fine by me. But it's enabled me to go to sleep at night. It's enabled me to find my inner peace. Because I know I'm not perfect, but I'm a spirit having a human experience. And I've had to live through all these episodes in my life to find out who I am. It's called self-enlightenment. And I'm not playing with those words. Because when you trust yourself and know yourself and can face yourself with all your faults, you find a peace inside yourself. And that radiates out because I don't have the darkness, the anger, the frustration, the pain holding me back. I want to show people, look, you can live through it. One of my favorite episodes of meeting somebody that had trauma was a veteran at a combat cafe close by, just closed down. But he was living as a Vietnam veteran and he was traumatized, PTSD. And I sat him down and I talked to him and I said, what happened? And he told me. And then in the end I said, the atrocities that he encountered and he felt he had committed to protect the village weighed heavily on his heart. That his squad had actually gone out and stopped people doing horrific things in Vietnam to villages, innocent people. Doesn't matter, old, young, male, female, didn't make anything, animal, whatever. These baddies were annihilating the village and the people in it, bit by bit. And his squad had gone out and stopped them. They killed them. Without orders, but they stopped them. And he said, We committed all the sins. You know, I said, well, hang on a minute. Let's take it a little bit further. Yeah, you did something illegal, but let's go further. Those people were killing people, maiming people, raping people, doing atrocities. Yeah, he said, yeah. Now, if you had not stopped those people, or your squad, stopped those people, they'd still be doing it. You saved countless lives, going through all that trauma and all that pain. And it was like a light came on. He said, I never thought of that. All these years since Vietnam, this is last year. I'm talking to this guy. He said, I never thought of that. I said, no, you see, what you did was wrong. Yes, it was wrong. And you shouldn't have done it. But if you hadn't have done it, these people, the village may have been completely wiped out the worst possible way. You saved countless lives. You and your team. And so what I suggest you do is take your hat off of Vietnam veteran and just have the hat veteran. Well, he went home, came back the following week with a lady, evidently his wife. And after someone come in through the door of the cafe, he pointed, and this lady came over and gave me a kiss on the cheek. And the biggest hug I've had in years. He said, thank you. I've got my husband back. I said, what do you mean? Well, last week he came home from the cafe with his hat on. He took it off in the hallway. He's got a rack of hats, baseball hats, and all to do with the war and veterans and Vietnam and all that. And he took his veterans Vietnam out, combat, and he put it up on the peg as high as he could out of reach, and just got veteran. And he looked at me and he gave me a kiss and says, I'm sorry, darling. I'm not there anymore. And she thanked me for it. He found himself because of what I told him. But he already knew it. But he hadn't seen it because of the anguish and the pain he was holding on to. But because he was unable to talk about it, I showed him what he was saying. You see, to find yourself, you can't always do it on your own. And being psychic, a lot of people don't realize when they see somebody they don't like, it's because there's something inside yourself that you're picking up, that something's been reminded of yourself. You know, when somebody says something, you go, no, don't do that. You go, find out what triggered it, your reaction to their words, their situation. And 9 times out of 10, you just, okay, back off and walk away. But you've got to be honest about it. And that takes a lot of courage, my friends. And I love the title, Home of Going Bold, media.com. Going bold, it used to be going solo, means not going alone. You've got me, myself, and I in yourself. Body, mind, and spirit. And I love working with all three together. I don't have the ego to say, oh, look at me, I'm better than you. I'm not better than anybody. I'm right down at the bottom. But being at the bottom, I can support people above me or aside of me. And I can help people. I can pull people up from behind me. I want people to be walking side by side, not in front of, not back of. If I need to protect somebody, I'll protect them. But I also want to protect myself. My honesty is from experience how much of a liar and a drunk I used to be. I used to wangle money to go out drinking. But I was a quiet drunk. I wasn't boisterous or nasty. When I had too much, I fell asleep. I'm not proud of that. But now I can look back and say to people when they say, oh, you don't know what it's like to be a drunk. Really? How many beers did you have? When I tell them what I drank, they go, what? You never did. I said, that's my family. They still think I'm a drunk. But I haven't touched a drop since January the 1st, 00.01, New Year's Day of 2002 was the last drop of alcohol in my mouth, which I spat out. I am proud that I can turn around and say, I'm still an alcoholic, but I haven't touched a drop since. I found my true self, which I think I should have made. Spirit gave me the title, so I'm just adding a bit on. But going bold is about being true to yourself. Finding yourself and saying, yes, I can do this. You see, none of us know how long we're going to be on this earth. It's a short time. What's 100 years in the cycle of this earth? There's trillions of us on this earth, or billions, whatever it is. There's a lot of people on this earth, and has been. And there's still going to be many more to be born. Our legacy in this world is about going bold. It's about going solo with compassion for other people, compassion for yourself. And you can only do that by finding yourself. You see, in relationships with other people, relationships only work if you're honest, or it's antagonistic, or it's anger, or it's danger. If you put yourself in a position, but you've got a choice. It's not always an easy one. It's a painful one sometimes. I've been there. I've been married twice before. But they taught me, the two previous wives taught me how I don't want to be with them or myself. I'm not proud of my failures, but I accept them. And when I met my wife now for over 22 years, of June of 2001, after doing a reading in the room, we talk every single day we can. There's no barrier. And I've got to be honest, my siblings thought that my wife has control over me. She doesn't. We made a promise to each other. If you don't love me, I love you that much, I will let you go if you want to. Think about it. That's powerful words. My wife and I have no barrier because we've seen what it can do to relationships. There's upon the term personal space, and you've got to accept I've got some things I don't want to share with you. No. I don't want to hide a dang thing from my wife. Excuse the words. I don't. So I don't. I have no need to. She knows if I'm starting to think about telling her something that wasn't quite 100% open. She just looks at me. And most married men or guys that have been in a relationship that's serious know the look. Hang on. I'm going to grab something. 1 second. I apologize for going from the camera, but this is one of the things that made me what I am today. My mum and dad used to say a comment to each other. And I'm going to read it and then I'll show it you. It is, the opinions expressed by the husband of this house are not necessarily those of the management. And it's a figurine of two old people on a bench. Oops. I believe we had this made for our parents many years ago. When it passed, I was lucky enough to get it. But the management in my house is equality. Because we both found ourselves. We both know what makes us happy. And it's equality. That's what it is. We found that by being honest with each other all the time, we still have some disagreements, but that's not long at all. And we always have a laugh at night, because I always make my wife laugh. Because if you can start the day with a laugh and finish the day with a laugh, everything in the middle can be worked out. But you have to find yourself to do that. You have to be honest with yourself. Our past is there to help us be who we are today. And if you have understood any of what I've said, enjoying today makes for a better tomorrow. And it's not a storyline, it's not hypothetical. I enjoy my life so much, I'm working harder now than I ever did. I didn't know I would be going to England a couple of weeks back, but I did and came back, and I had a blast of a time. Everything worked out perfectly because of my brother. I stayed at his place, and he drove me around, and I paid for bits and pieces, he paid for stuff, and I got to see all my siblings, grandson, and places I grew up as a child. Because my past is important. I don't live in the past. I accept the past and what it gave me, the happy memories and the sad ones. And one of the places I went to was a place called Elvaston Castle, Elvaston. It's in Derbyshire. And it's a very old building. It was a castle at one stage, but it had stables in it that were still current in the 60s and 70s when I was a child. And we used to cycle from where we lived, Aston, to Elvaston, about a mile and a half on bicycles or walking to the stables and get rides if we mucked out the stables. And one of the horses was called Fury. Sorry, pony was called Fury. I was the only one who could ride him. He was a cantankerous little thing. I'd ride him and he'd stroll along and stop and buck me into a bed of nettles. Every time. I always wore shirts because England's a bit chilly. That's what I remember anyway. But then one day I went up to the pony and I said, "Look, Fury, this has got to stop because I'm getting really bad rashes from these nettles." So I got on him and rode again. And he saw the bed of nettles. It was honest to God. The pony looked behind at me, looked at the nettles, looked behind again, and walked past. Only to buck me into a pond right next to the nettle patch. And I really felt him laughing. I forgot to say, "Don't buck me at all." I said, "Don't buck me into the nettles." And he never did after that. But you see, the memories I have, even though it was painful, landing in a bed of nettles is painful, folks. But landing in the water was the epitome of this pony's good humour. You see, I can laugh even at the pain now because the horse was only doing, or the pony was only doing what made him enjoy life. And I've come to respect horses and animals even more since then. I'm not a horse rider. I'd like to do it, but I've still got a bit of trepidation because horses are a bit bigger than ponies. But you see, I accept my fears and understand why I have fears. I'm afraid of black dogs because I was dragged off a bicycle when I was a wee child in central England and dragged by 2 black Labradors. They didn't hurt me, but they dragged me along the road. So I can't walk near black dogs when I've got a dog myself because I feel an attack. But you see, I understand why I'm afraid of it. I've had a black dog. In fact, I've had 2 black Labradors here with my wife. In fact, they were here when I first got here. I've been with animals, but I can't walk a black dog because that's the limit of my, okay, I can cope with it. But understanding why, finding myself, I was too young to understand what those dogs were really doing. They weren't hurting me. They didn't touch me. They held onto my little pants or jeans in England and just dragged me along the road because I was invading their space and they didn't want me to be there. You see, everybody's got a limitation. Everybody's got an area that they don't want anybody to touch. But think about why that area is nobody else can come in there. That's private. Why are you hiding your real self? Because if you've got something so private nobody else can see or touch, you're hiding yourself, the real you. And if you can't share it, think about why you can't hide, why you're hiding it. To find oneself, you've got to be honest with yourself and say the truth of yourself. I'm a retired Navy person. I did 14.5 years in the Royal Navy, 71 to 86. And I did things, and I've seen things, the typical sailor things, but I never treated anybody with disrespect. I never two-timed. I never cheated. And I saw so many of my peers, married people, going off with wrong. I wasn't holier than thou, it's just I didn't agree with it. Because my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather taught me about relationships, about love, respect of self and others. They taught me to find myself. And this is why it's so important for each of you to understand this. Because if you don't, your life can be full of turmoil, frustration, even anger, even hate. If you hate something that much, why are you doing it? Why are you allowing it into your life? If somebody is controlling you that much and you hate it, either get hold of the authorities, run away, get some help from somebody, or stand up and walk away. Yeah, you're going to be on your own. Yeah, you're going to be isolated because other people think, oh, that person's wonderful, but you know the truth. You can always contact me. I've been through so many things in my life. And if you really want to contact me, I'm here. You can email me medium77@gmail.com or thebrit77@hotmail.com. If you need help, I don't know what I can do to help you, but I'll do my best and help you get in touch with the right people. That's my promise. Or you can phone me. Now I'm in Florida, USA, so it's 352-409-1060. Leave a voice message, say Dare to Dream or something, because if you don't tell me, I'm not going to answer the phone or call you back. I need to know who's calling me. We all get the scam callers. In fact, it's a pain of life. But it makes me laugh because they've got a job to do. They know it causes upset to other people. But I'm here to say, when they phone me, thank you for calling me. How can I help you? And they hang up. I'm being nice, for goodness sake. But please, if you need help and you need somebody to help you find yourself, I or other people that I know are always there to help you as best they can. That's the only promise we can give you. We don't know if we can until you knock on the door. We'll show you what we can and help you where we can. Now, the Going Bold media, please, please, please like, subscribe, choose a show that you like or shows. Get involved, because this is what makes this whole media help you. Now, I'm the host of Dare to Dream. My name's Graham Williamson. I'm an international intuitive, evidential medium and psychic. And I do my show every other Wednesday. My next show is going to be, the 2nd of July. Or 3rd, my apologies. I missed it. Thanks, CC. 3rd of July. I don't know what the topic is at the moment, but I know each time I ask Spirit to give me a heading, they've never let me down. I hope you've enjoyed this show. And I really want you to think about what I've said. You are never alone on this earth. Even if you are a single person in one room, you are never alone. There's me, myself, and I, body, mind, and spirit. That's just 3 aspects of who you are. But also, because of your energy, you are connected to the divine energy of life around. In the other realm of where spirit go when they pass over, And they are always trying to connect with you. If you're full of hate and frustration and anger, it's difficult for spirit to get to you, to help you. When you think of loved ones who have passed, or why did you leave me? Think about what triggered you to remember them. Because most spirit, when they travel onto the next realm of existence, learn about their mistakes and their love and connection with you on this earth still. And they want to trigger those memories, the good memories, not the bad ones. Sometimes the bad ones are triggered first. But as a rescue medium, I help those spirits that are negative and show them that they've passed into the light, not the dark, the light. And the spirit tap your memory. And you remember them and say, oh yeah, I remember. But then you say, they're dead. Or I don't like you because you died. Or some frustration about them passing. But they triggered the memory just so they can connect with you. Spirit, you. Spirit goes, oh, can you remember when we did ABC? And you go, oh yeah, I do. Remember it. Then you can talk to them. But you have to use your voice. Your energy comes out of your voice. If you just think it, nothing happens. And people say, I can't feel spirit. My loved ones passed, but I don't feel them. But I keep on thinking about them. Well, they can't get through because you're not saying what you're feeling from your heart. To find oneself and be honest with oneself opens that energy up, and spirit can get through to you a little bit easier. If you're willing to listen, if you're willing to be honest, if you're willing to be true to yourself and them. I had a friend, quick one before we finish, who was an artist, a psychic artist. I sat at her chair while she started just doing a drawing of whatever she picked up. She never asked anything about anybody, just how I was doing and all this. Total meandering around and talking away. And she drew a perfect picture of my grandfather. In the position of his head, collar, position of his collar. Everything about the picture matched a photograph I've got of the same person. And I could put her drawing over the top of the picture. Matched perfectly. And you see, when you're open to what you feel, and you can voice it, or draw it, or feel it, or show some sign of connection by speaking about it, you can draw many pictures of loved ones that have passed and of yourself. You find yourself, you can evolve. Your abilities will increase if you so wish. You don't have to be a medium, you don't have to be psychic as such. Everybody is a psychic, but whether you use your gift makes it better. And I hope what I've said today will help you. And I'm going to have to say goodbye, and I'll see you week after next. And I want to thank Cece and everybody. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And thank you for watching. Bye for now.